Coming up on the Life is the Future podcast.
Everything that's happened in your life, whether good or bad, is like meant to happen, and it like sets you and like prepares you for what you have later to come.
Hey, it's Scott Todnum, and you're listening to the Life is the Future podcast, a podcast for health education, middle school, and life in general. It's a throwback episode. This is a chance for our current 8th graders to pick the brains of graduating high school seniors who are our Season 3 podcast hosts from just 4 short years ago. What a cool opportunity, right? Let's flash back to 2020 and 2021, our pandemic school year, as our hosts from that year, Naomi, Tami, and David, join this year's hosts, our Season 7 hosts, Sree, Samarth, Dhruva, and Kanishk, for an extended episode and interview with our high school graduating seniors. I'll be back at the end to wrap some things up. For now, enjoy.
Hello, welcome back to Life is the Future. My name is Samarth.
I'm Kanishk.
I'm Dhruva.
And I'm Sree.
And we have 3 seniors with us today.
Yeah. Hi. Alright, I'm David, and I was a host in 2020.
I'm Naomi. I was one of the other hosts too.
Yeah, and I'm Tami, also a host.
And there's one more of us, but her name's Zoe. She's not here right now, though.
Yeah, she moved, but we still remember you, Zoe.
Yeah, we love you, Zoe.
Shout out, yeah.
All right, so what do you guys remember of 4 years ago hosting the podcast? What was your favorite memory, I guess, or how did it affect you guys as people?
It's how did the podcast affect us?
Yeah, leadership and all that.
Okay, just to start off, so the podcast really got me out of my comfort zone. I'm not a person who usually talks to people I don't know for real, and every other week it's me having to reach out to people who I don't usually talk to, people who I don't usually have any conversations with, and we're having deep conversations about racism or mental health struggles. So it really got me comfortable with kind of talking to people I'm not really familiar with, and stepping out of my comfort zone.
For me, I think it got me more comfortable with being able to have hard conversations about that controversial stuff. I feel like a lot of people try to avoid it to be peaceful or just to not stir pots, but it's a good thing to talk about and be comfortable talking about, because that's what starts conversations and starts change. So I feel like being able to open up and have those controversial conversations in a respectful way was good for me.
Yeah, I liked how even though for our first few guests we did ask some of our friends, but after that we kind of had to think of a lot of more people that we didn't talk to a lot, so kind of getting their kind of view on certain specific serious issues was really interesting. So I think kind of broadening who I got information from was kind of eye-opening to me. So
Did you guys have any problem finding guests? Because I know after second quarter this year, we found 3 guests or something for our podcasts.
At the beginning it was kind of hard because nobody really wants to be on, and it's COVID, so it's on Zoom and it's awkward and stuff like that. But then after a while, I think we kind of got used to it. We just started asking random people that we could just get in contact with. I mean, I feel because it was Zoom, it was easy to if someone could if someone canceled or something like that, then we could easily text someone else, and then they can just press a link and then hop on the Zoom for 10 to 15 minutes. But I think that was kind of hard.
How was high school different for you than middle school? Just in general, life, social stuff.
To begin with, I feel high school is really a lot kind of your first experience of adulthood. Obviously you're still a teenager in high school, but it's really, really independent compared to middle school. Middle school is kind of where you have a support system. Not saying you don't have one in high school, but you kind of have teachers who are always okay, you didn't do the assignment, they're always checking in with you and other stuff, or if you don't do an assignment, you're gonna have somebody always do this assignment. In high school, it's more of you're responsible for kind of what your performance or whatever. So if you don't do the activities, you're the one who ends up suffering in the long run. And kind of just like, everybody has their own unique path. Not everybody's going to be taking the same classes. You're not going to be doing like the same things and doing like the same clubs or whatever. So kind of just finding out what you like in your own like kind of unique path, I guess.
Yeah, so talking about high school, recently, like, I went to Nikwa as like an ambassador for like a shadowing program.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and I saw like the guy I was shadowing, he had like a lot of friends from like Crone and Gregory, the other middle schools. Like, how was it for
Were
you
you
guys?
at the freshman building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How was it for you guys just making friends from other schools and like meeting other people?
For me, I feel like, because I went to Wabanzi, and I don't know if it's still like that, but at the time, there was like 10% of Scullin that went to Wabanzi. So I didn't, like, and a lot of it were the people that I, like, didn't know. So I, like, was kind of forced to make a lot of new friends, but it was a good experience for me because, like, then, like, I branched out a lot more out of my comfort zone, and like meeting new people and like different types of people too was like, I feel like it was really good for me to like, because I like to just stick with like who I know, and like I don't like to like meet a whole lot of people, so it was good for me to like branch out.
Yeah, I could relate to that. Like, when we were at the freshman campus, I kind of kept like the Scullin friends closer to me. But as the year went on and like we all got comfortable, I started like talking to other people. But like for like lunch, for example, I still like sat with my Scullin friends.
Yeah.
So.
I would say like first semester, I genuinely like kind of struggled finding like my people or finding like friends or whatever, especially people who I didn't know, because a lot of them were not maybe as like comfortable because they know these people since like elementary, and then they're just seeing me for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But like towards like second semester, the people you see often in your classes, you might say like a word two or there with them. If you guys have like a project, you might work with them. And they start to become like more familiar with them, and then as you guys become like closer and closer in friendship, they kind of like bring you to their other friends, and then eventually you have like mutual friends, and it's like a whole like connected like path. And obviously the friends that you start with like freshman year would probably not be the same friends you have during high school, but I definitely noticed that like we all don't really know each other well, so they're kind of all trying to make an attempt of, oh, what's this person like, what's their personality like, and
Yeah, for me, like, I think every year, like, because for lunch we have, like, different periods. Like, at our school you could have lunch either, like, 3rd through, like, 7th period. But, like, every period I never sat with, like, or every lunch, like, that I had every year, I never sat with the same people. One, because, like, we had different classes, but also because I just, like, knew different people. And I feel like you don't like don't stress about having to like you have to stick with the same people or you have to be with the same friends you knew from middle school, because like nobody's like that. Like, you're gonna meet new people, you're gonna have new friends, that's okay. Like, you can still have the friends that you have, but don't be afraid to like branch out, because I feel like when you're just stuck with the same people without like trying to reach others, I feel like you're kind of like losing that experience of like branching out, I guess, and like growing with like the people that you know.
yeah.
So.
Do you guys remember what topics you'd go back for when you guys did the podcast? Do you remember what topics you'd like focus on a lot? So I know, especially for like me and Samarth's case, I find that like we keep going back to motivation often in our talk. So are there any like small topics that you find that you cover like most frequently when you did the podcast?
Well, honestly, because you guys are at like a different time period than we were during the pandemic. So this is when like, schools, like we just found out that, we're not going to have like a full school year or whatever. And there was obviously a lot of like, controversy in the news. There was protests, especially like the BLM protests. So we kind of, at least like the first part of it, we went to like more of like the heavier kind of topics. It was like pretty like serious for like the 8th grade kind of discussion, but it was important for us to kind of like not just like skip past those kind of like issues. And then eventually we got into more of like, like the teenage kind of stuff, relationships, advice that we have for each other, all that type of stuff. But we try to make an attempt to like not really repeat the same conversations unless like it was that deep that like we really need to like go into it more. We kind of tried to make every like week a different kind of topic. So maybe like 1 week is more deep, 1 week is more like, we kind of just like having a conversation more.
Yeah, I feel like hosting the podcast like during that specific time, during like the pandemic, it was really effective for us because a lot of people like our ages, we like since we were like on social media a lot because we were like locked in our homes, we saw, like you said, like a bunch of stuff on the news, and a lot of us like kind of became kind of really socially aware, and like we wanted an outlet to express like our concerns and all that stuff. So kind of letting that bleed into like the podcast and talking about it was really good for us and the guests.
Do you think, like, if in your case you were able to do it in person, like the podcast, do you think like the topics would have been any different, or like what you guys discussed would have been any different than what it was since you guys were in lockdown?
Do you mean like if it was like still COVID and we were in person? Like,
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it?
Like you just said how being on Zoom like definitely affected how like you guys wanted to open up and talk with like other people about certain topics. Do you think that would have been different if you guys were doing it in person?
So kind of like seeing some people like day to day versus like us being, you know, at home by ourselves that we can't see. I definitely think that like what David was saying, because of the fact that we were, you know, not being able to see each other each day, it was kind of just like, I just want to rant like a lot on the podcast or whatever. I just want to talk, even as people like me and David or Naomi and Zoe, people that they might not know us that well, they want to see like other perspectives from our age group. Now, if we were in person, I do think that, I still think that we would kind of get into those kinds of conversations because like we're all witnessing it happen right in front of us, and like to just act like nothing's happening, it's just kind of like dumb, honestly. So
yeah, I feel like maybe we would be a little more guarded if it was in person.
Yeah,
Maybe just because
maybe
like
a little more casual.
just because like on Zoom, like one is like technical issues. Like we'd always have some kind of technical issue going on that would make it hard to do the podcast. And then two, also I feel like having a screen in between like us and like the conversation and stuff kind of made it easier to like open up because we're not like I feel like it's hard to do face to face. Yeah.
Do you guys feel that your topics from middle school still have significance even in high school?
Yeah, well, we did like
We did
everything under
like
the sun.
we did.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel like was the most important? Like,
Well, I don't think we have one that was most important, but we have like I don't know. I don't want to say sections, but we have like we talk about the debate, like presidential politics type of stuff with some people. Some people we talked like kind of like casually about like I think we had like a 3-part relationships. Yes, we had like one where we're talking into like boys, and then one with girls, and then one with like friendships versus like relationships. I think there was also another episode where we like they interviewed like teachers too, so we like see like the difference between like how teachers like think about something. So kind of, did I answer your question?
I feel like the topics are still relevant because it's like nothing's really changed, to be honest, from like it was 4 years ago, but like all the stuff that we talked about is still active, and it's like mental health stuff, like everybody still do the mental health, like it's not different than it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, the mental health stuff is like really big at like Nico, or probably at Wabanzu too. Like they do like the mental health week and that stuff. So. Yeah.
Is there anything that was brought up in any of your podcast discussions that you think like stuck with you the most, like that you find like impacted your life in general?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
It's really hard for me to really remember. I know I keep going back to this, but I definitely, because I think that was one of our biggest like viewed or like listened to podcasts was the BLM one where we were talking to like Sophie. Remember that one?
No, but
I remember
that was like one of the first ones we did.
I remember the podcast. I don't remember who was in it with us though.
But yeah, we talked about some like pretty like heavy stuff, and it kind of just made me like realize like even people like who I would never really consider like the most like activist type of, they had like really really good like thoughts and like opinions, and I'm just like, wow, like I never really considered that. And
Did we interview like someone that was like the opposite of like what we were doing?
We tried to choose people with different perspectives of what we would have. That way it could be like a better conversation.
And it was
those are the juicy ones.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, I think for me one of the topics that stick most might be like the social triangle thing. I don't know if he still has like the physical, social, mental thing that he has up on the wall, like. Because I feel like in high school, it can be really easy to, like, forget about, like you could be, like, stuck solely on academics, or you could just be, like, someone who doesn't care at all about and just only wants to, like, party or be with friends, or, like, someone who, like, is, like, just, like, not even caring at all. But, like, I feel like in high school, it's really important to try to prioritize each aspect of your triangle because it's a lot different than middle school and it's a lot more stress and a lot more pressure. So being able to like have a balance, as balanced as you can. Obviously, it's not always going to be like complete equal, but like I think that was like the main thing that I would try to remember in high school.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' best high school memories from your 4 years?
I would say for me, I think mine was like homecoming. Like I feel like Wabanzi. I don't know if you guys still have like indoor. You still have indoor homecoming? Yeah,
y'all do
that
outdoor,
sucks.
right?
We have outdoor homecoming, and it's really fun because it's like indoor. It's like hot and sweaty, and like the floor is literally wet and it's gross. And we do it outside, and it's so fun. They have like this big booth DJ thing, and they have like confetti, and they have like photo stuff in the end, and it's like really fun. And like the mosh pit, like, and then you like after and before you like take pictures with friends, and like for me it was a really good time, and it was always something like that I like looked forward to so much. And then like we just had prom like for my school, so it was also like that too, like those dances was something that I loved.
I think my favorite like time of like the school year in high school is definitely like from like I'd say like September to like December, because I feel like that's like, you know, football season, like the football games, those are really fun to go to. And I don't know, just like the vibe and everything is just, I think it's the best part. Like I prefer it more than like semester 2. That's like my least favorite part of the year, in my opinion. Like it's just because like final exams and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you have one?
I would just say the freshman year in general. Freshman year was probably like my favorite year of high school. So I would tell you guys to like take advantage of it because it's gonna be one of meeting a whole bunch of people, going to like my first football game, high school football game, the pep rally during homecoming, all like the activities that they had lined up for us, even advisory like games that we would do in like our advisory class at NEQA. It was really, really, really fun. Yeah.
I feel like sophomore was my favorite year.
I agree.
Because I feel
Really?
like
Sophomore year was the downfall. That was the beginning of the downfall. Junior year was the
I feel like
downfall.
after
I
sophomore year
feel
was
like my
like,
junior year. I feel like
that was-
junior
I like
year
sophomore year. I don't remember junior
sophomore
that
year.
much, to be honest.
Junior was
That was like a blur for me.
Oh. For me, freshman year is like you're so like new, and like everybody when you walk in are like ew freshman, because like
Yeah.
no offense, but like
well,
that's just how
That's
it is.
different
Like,
because you're at Wabanzi at the freshman building. It's like
Yeah.
well, okay, but they have
I
their
thought that
own
too.
building.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
We are like thrown in to
Yeah.
like where
Yeah.
everybody is, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
true.
everybody's like ew. But like after sophomore year, I feel like you're chilling. Like you don't have to worry because you're not a freshman anymore. So like people like actually like you, and then
Yeah.
like at least upperclassmen, and then you don't have to worry about like college or whatever, or like SATs, like how like junior and seniors do. So I feel like sophomore year was like my breeze year.
But for you guys, sophomore was your first time being in the big building, right?
Which one
Yeah.
of you guys are going to NEQA? Like,
I'm going to.
You're going to
I
NEQA?
You guys are going to
You guys are
Wabanzi?
going to
Yeah,
Wabanzi? Wabanzi. Okay, so you're going to NEQA. Sophomore, yeah, I literally just had a discussion with my freshman this morning in a senior advisory about this, about how like kind of freshman year is still kind of like that transition year. So it's just like you getting a taste of high school, but you kind of still have, okay, you're around all these freshmen or whatever. And it's kind of like you building up the skills that you're going to need for the main building. And then sophomore year is like when it's kind of like put to the test. Sophomore year is kind of like, they're kind of like the freshmen in a sense because they're the youngest at the main building. But I would still say that like you're still like considered like, you know, responsible, independent. I mean, you probably can drive if you want to or whatever. Sophomore year it's not supposed to be meant to be like super, super stressful. It's kind of supposed to be like a relaxing, chill year. That
So like,
junior.
as a freshman, how much interaction did you have with like people from the main building, or was it just senior advisory?
I think that is the one main thing I don't like about the freshman building, because my interactions with the upper class were really, really limited. Just because I had an older sister and because I was in track, that's like the main areas I was able to interact with the upperclassmen. Otherwise, I didn't know what was going on in the main building. I don't really know like what's going on with the grades. How about you?
I mean, I agree with you because I had an older sibling, so like I only knew like his friends basically at the main building. That's really all.
Yeah. For Wabanzi, I feel like, because I mean, most of your classes freshman year you're not really gonna have with seniors unless you're like in an extracurricular class or something. But I feel like if you like to get more interactions with older classmen, I feel like go to like games or like go to events, like school events, or like join clubs, stuff like that, clubs, sports, whatever, because then like for me, I feel like my biggest interaction when I was with older classmen were when I played volleyball, because like freshman year, obviously you're the only one, you're youngest one there, so and they'd introduce me to their friends and they'd introduce me to their friends, and it's like now I have like people not just from freshman year that I can like be friends with, and I still feel like at least for that it was easier. So if you want like upperclassmen friends, what I feel like is a good idea to have, join like clubs or sports or like go to events and like be friendly, like meet people, because I feel like then it's a good like experience.
So how are you guys, like, looking ahead to college, how are you guys feeling, and like what are your thoughts?
For me, okay, so my circumstance,
so. You already there, so.
How I did it, second semester, I went early to high school, or early to college. I play volleyball, so I, like, committed. I go to Northern Illinois, so I went early to play there. So I kind of have my, like, experience. Right? Yeah, so for me, it honestly wasn't that bad. I think the main thing that was the hardest was, like, either like the commute, like getting different classes, because like I take the bus, but if I like miss the bus, I have to walk like 20 minutes to my class, like across campus. And then the other thing I think would be like meeting new people, but that was only because I think I came in halfway through the year and people already had like their orientation and like the people that they knew, so it was a little harder for me. But like after a while I like obviously made friends and stuff, but it was a good experience. Like I didn't struggle as hard as I thought I would. Like I was more prepared than, like high school made me more prepared than I thought it would, which was lucky for me. And then like I got to meet a lot of new people, like got a lot of new like experiences. So like I really enjoyed like my first semester there. So.
Oh.
I mean right now, like for college, I don't know what phase to call it. I guess I'm in like the finding a roommate, like room phase. I don't know what I'm doing really, but like I'm just trying to go with the flow, to be honest. But like I'm in the roommate phase basically. But like I've already committed and all that stuff. I feel like last year, like in the admissions process, I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it. Like it's kind of stressful, but I just feel like just know like you'll be fine. Like you'll be okay. It's gonna be fine.
Just like what he said. Don't like make people. Don't force yourself into like believing that you have to have everything figured out by a deadline, or if you're not figured out anything by like senior year that you're gonna be. No, there's plenty of people who still are trying to figure out where they're trying to go, what they're trying to major in, what they're trying to do as like a profession. So there's plenty of time for whatever you want to do.
So, what does the title of this podcast, "Life is the Future," mean to you?
I think it means, like, it's like good to have a like open space to like talk about what's going on like around the world and in our lives, and it's good to like take into account like acknowledging it, and then that could probably like help with our future selves or something. I don't know if that makes sense. I try to word it. I don't know. But that's what I think.
I think maybe like life is the future. Like all the experiences, like the ups and downs and struggles that you go through like throughout life, like prepares you for your future. Right. Like I guess like everything that's happened in your life, whether good or bad, is like meant to happen, and it like sets you and like prepares you for what you have later to come, I guess.
Yeah, literally exactly what you said. Just like the idea of like mindfulness, that stop living in the past because you can't like change that. Living in the present, living in the moment, is just preparing you for what your life is, and that is what the future is. So each and every moment, each and every like action that you take, you should do it like intentionally, and know that everything that you're doing is gonna prepare like something better for you in the future. So don't focus on like the past, like your old mistakes or whatever. Focus on what you can do, which is your future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you
guys
for having us
us.
on. Yeah.
It's like a flashback in the past, walking in.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll be back for next episode next week. Life is the future. I'm your co-host, Tami. Signing out. That was our outro.
wanted to do that bad. Huh?
Okay, there it is. Thanks so much to Naomi, Tami, David, and from far away Zoe for all their work they did in 8th grade. Viewers and listeners, I think you'll agree this is an amazing opportunity that we're extremely grateful for. We're so happy that some of these seniors are still around in the area to revisit middle school and all those topics that came up from back then, what they remember, how high school went, and looking forward to the future. Pretty incredible experience to allow these 8th grade hosts finishing their school year, season 7 of our podcast, looking ahead to where they might be in 4 years from now. If you've been with us a while, it's awesome to see these young people grow into young adults right before our eyes. The seniors are also going to do one more video for us, our final release in season 7 of our podcast, as they react to their younger selves and some of the previous episodes they recorded on Zoom during 2020. Look for that release on YouTube, Spotify, and all podcast platforms real soon. If you like what we do, make sure to share with someone who also might benefit. That always helps us reach our intended audience. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.